Once upon a time, in a fishing village in Airmanis, West Sumatra, there lived a family of fishermen. Due to the family's financial needs, the father decided to migrate across the sea. However, the father never returned to the village and left his wife, Mande Rubaya. The wife then raised their son, Malin, by herself. By his mother, Malin was often infinited, taken anywhere. Therefore, the child got a new nickname, Malin Kundang. Malin grew up as a smart boy but a bit naughty. Malin often chased chicken and hit them with a broom. One day, when Malin was chasing chickens, he fell and hit his hand on a rock. The wound left a mark on his arm.
My arm. Mom, look at my arm.
I told you to stop misbehaving. See, this scare will never go away.
Yes, Mom. I'm sorry. But maybe with this one you can recognize me.
Don't talk as if you're trying to leave me later.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mom. Because this.
Go to shower.
Yeah, I got to shower.
Forward to a few years later. When Malin grew up, Malin felt sorry for his mother who had to struggle to support them. So he intended to migrate with a merchant ship.
Mom, Malin has something to say.
What do you want to say?
Malin wants to migrate to help her mother earn a living. Malin promised to come back when she was successful. I promise.
When are you leaving and with who?
I leave tomorrow morning and will come with the merchant ship.
Yes, I'll let you go, but promise you I'll come back someday.
The next morning, Malin left to go on a journey.
Mom, say goodbye.
Malin's mother breathed loud his late husband.
Bye, Mom. I promise. You'll back.
While sailing on his journey, a bad incident happened to Malin's ship and he was stranded on a beach. The villagers on the beach welcomed and helped Malin to live and work there.
Help me, please help me.
From then on, Malin worked diligently to cultivate the village fertile land and became incredibly successful. Malin had 100 workers and a number of trading ships of his own. After becoming a rich man, Malin married the daughter of a rich merchant. Meanwhile, Mrs. Mande never did fetch any news from Malin after his departure. For years, Mrs. Mande could only stare at the sea while praying that her son would be safe and send news, or even return to village. Whenever a leisure ship docked in the village, Mrs. Mande always asked the skipper and crew about her son. However, no one ever broke news or message from Malin, turning to Malin and his wife.
Honey, do you want to sail with me?
Yes, I would. But what are you sailing for?
I have a job that I have to take care of a long time, so it's impossible for me to leave you alone for a long time, especially since we have only been married for a few days.
Oh, then I'll prepare all our needs.
Me too.
Malin, his wife, and several crew members set sail on a Reggie ship. After sailing for a while, the ship anchored on an island. Without realizing it, it turned out the Malin hometown. The seeing the lager ship anchored. The villagers, including Mrs. Monday, gathered on the beach. They wanted to welcome the ship, which they thought belonged to a sultan or prince. From a distance, a young man and woman were seen standing on the platform. While Josstrisius clothes, Ibu Mande saw and realized that the young man was Malin. As soon as the ship docked and the two young men got off the ship, Mrs. Mande ran to her son.
Alin, this is your right. How are you now, son?
Who is she, dear? How can a lovely woman like know?
Can you be at the wrong place?
We thought you meant this, please. Mrs. Monday lay on the sand crying and hard until she fainted. When she finally woke up, she was alone on the beach and the villagers had left her behind. Mrs. Monday also saw that Malin and his wife ship and sailed away from the shore, crying. Mrs. Monday knelt down and raised her hand to pray to God. Mrs. Monday prayed that if the young man was not Malin Kundang, Mrs. Monday would forgive his action. But if the young man was really Malin Kundang, then Mrs. Monday cursed him to become a stone.
Dear Allah, if he is not my son, then I will forgive him. But if he is really my son, then curse him to be.
Mrs. Monday prayed the sky that had been bright suddenly turned dark. Heavy rain and storm appeared. Malin's sailing ship was smashed to pieces by lightning. The next day, when the storm had subsided, the wreckage of the ship that had turned into stone was swept by the waves to an island. Among the debris that washed up to on the shore, there was a boulder shaped like a bowed human body, with anchovy, mullet, and a miraculous swimming in between. The local people believe that the rock is the body of Malin who was cursed to turn to stone for disobeying his mother, and the fish around it are fragments of Malin's wife who is looking for her husband.